Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Dr. Yasmin Ahmed, and today's our topic is about the spinal cord from the central nervous system. Previously, you have studied about the cerebellum and the function of cerebellum. So now we will start with our new topic of spinal cord. Spinal cord is basically an elongated, almost the cylindrical part of the CNS, and that is suspended in the vertebral canal, surrounded by the meninges and the cerebrospinal fluid. So it's this spinal cord is basically continuous above with the medulla oblongata, the last part of the brain, and it extends from the upper border of the atlas to the lower border of first lumbar vertebra. And the length of this spinal cord is approximately 45 centimeter long in adults. This is the cross section of the spinal cord, in which you can see the horn shaped structure in the center, that is known as the gray matter, and surrounding that horn shaped structure, the gray matter, the surrounding structure is known as the white matter. In the center, you can appreciate the central canal of the spinal cord. On the right side, in the upper side, right and upper side, you can see the posterior sensory horn of the spinal cord, and on the uh, lower right side you can see the interior motor horn of the spinal cord. So you have to memorize these two things whenever there is present that posterior sensory horn, there is a posterior sensory horn of the spinal cord, and there is anterior motor horn of the spinal cord. On the left side you can see the anterior root of the spinal nerve, and there are some rootlets present as well. Okay, in the center, we have studied that there is the gray matter, and basically this consists of the cell bodies of the neuron. And on the posterior column, there are sensory neurons present, and in the interior column, posterior column is basically present on the above side, and the anterior column present on the lower side. In the posterior column, there are sensory neuron present, and in the anterior column, there are two types of motor neuron known as lower motor neuron, or other type are interneuron as well. Sensory neurons are basically those nerves, neurons and nerves that from the organ and the tissue enter and pass upward in the spinal cord to the brain. As the name indicates, these are the sensory nerves or the sensory neurons. And the motor nerves are basically that they conveys the impulses from the brain to the various organ and tissue, and that descend through the spinal cord, and at appropriate level they leave the spinal cord and pass to the structure where they are going to supply. There is another picture cross section of the spinal cord in your textbook as well. You can see here also in the center the horn shaped structure, the gray matter, and surrounding the gray matter there is white matter present. And on the upper side you can see the posterior sensory nerve roots present, and the lower side you can appreciate that anterior motor nerve root is present. Okay, now we will study about the white matter, and the white matter of the spinal cord is basically arranged in the three columns or tract, in the anterior, posterior, and the lateral. Anterior is basically on the lower side, posterior on the upper side, and lateral on the sideways. These tracts are formed by the fiber of the ascending 2 and descending nerve fiber. Ascending 2 are basically the sensory fibers, and descending nerve fibers are those motor in nature. Okay, first we will study about those sensory nerve tracts. Sensory nerve tract, the neuron that transmit impulses toward the brain, as the name indicate, are known as the sensory. Those are also known as the afferent and ascending tracts. So sensation like pain, touch, and temperature are basically carried from the skin to the opposite side of the hemisphere, and decussation occur at medulla or the lower level. So if these sensations are being perceived from the left side of the body, from the left hand, if, you can say that when we perceive any pain sensation on the left hand, and that is carried to the right hemisphere of the brain. And the decussation is basically the crossing over of the fibers to the opposite side, and this decussation occur in the medulla or the lower level. So there are tendons, muscle and joints also have some special type of receptor known as the proprioceptors, which together with impulses from the eyes and ear maintains balance and posture. So these nerve impulses either travel to the cerebral hemisphere of opposite side or to the cerebellum of same side. So there is an option that these nerve impulses basically either travel to the same side and of the cerebellum, or they may decussate and travel to the opposite side of cerebral hemisphere. This is basically a pathway of the sensory nerve tract. You can see on the lower right side the sensory receptor in the skin. If you sense any kind of pain, temperature or touch, that is their impulses is being carried to firstly to the posterior root ganglion, and from there it ascends to the cell bodies in the medulla oblongata, and again it goes from uh, sensory from the medulla oblongata. It basically causes decussation. The right side fibers are crossed over to the left side, and left side fibers are crossed over to the right side. This is known as the sensory decussation that take place in the medulla, and that finally goes into the third order neuron present in the thalamus and finally into the cortex. So this is a picture from your textbook. There are some receptors showing their route and their final destination. The receptor basically present in the skin are pain, touch and temperature that goes from the different type of routes. Neuron 1 basically present, it acts from the spinal cord to the spinal cord by the posterior root, and neuron 2 is present from where the decussation on entering the spinal cord happens, then into the anterolateral spinothalamic tract to the thalamus, and the third neuron is present in the thalamus. So their destination basically present in the parietal lobe of cerebrum. And there are some other receptors known as the touch and proprioceptors, and that goes to the medulla in the posterior spinothalamic tract, again decussate in the medulla and transmit their further transmission ascends to the thalamus, and their final destination is again in the parietal lobe of cerebrum. And there are some other proprioceptors. They goes through the spinal cord, means they ascend through the spinal cord, but they does not cause decussation. No crossing over of the fibers take place, and their final destination is in the cerebellum, in the posterior spinocerebellar tract on the same side. Okay, the other type is of nerve tracts are the motor nerve tracts in the spinal cord. Neuron that transmit nerve impulses away from the brain are called the motor neurons, known as the efferent and the descending neuron as well. Motor neuron are basically involved in the two type of function. It causes the contraction of the skeletal muscle. Contraction of the skeletal muscle is voluntary in action, and contraction of the smooth muscle and cardiac muscle and gland secretion is basically involuntary in action. So first we will see about those voluntary muscle movement under the conscious voluntary control. Basically you can control their muscle movement, and the stimulus to contract basically originate at the level of cerebrum. Cerebrum is the seat of consciousness, and major part of the brain, cerebrum, is also known as the seat of consciousness. And stimulus to contract any part of the muscle you want to contract it, stimulus basically starts from the cerebrum, and the motor pathway carry impulses from the brain to the muscle in two types of tracts. And those two types of tracts are pyramidal tracts and the extrapyramidal. Pyramidal also known as the corticospinal tracts. Corticospinal tract, as the name indicates, it begins from the cortex to the through the spinal and ends into the any muscle or any organ or any tissue from where they perform their actions. Okay, the types of neuron in the motor pathway are two types, upper motor neuron and the lower motor neuron. First, we will see about the upper motor neuron. Their cell body, or you can say the bed cells, lies in the primary motor area of the cerebrum. Very important point, you have to memorize it. The axon basically pass through the internal capsule, pons and medulla, and there the fiber synapse with the lower motor neuron in the anterior column of the gray matter. And the some axon basically fibers, some axon fibers synapse in the with the lower motor neuron, and some axon of the upper motor neuron make up the pyramidal tract. And decussate pyramidal tract, they mean they form the pyramid, and decussate in the medulla oblongata forming the pyramid. This is the diagram showing the motor nerve pathway. You can see the motor pathway starts from the upper motor neuron, and the cell body of that upper motor neuron is present in the cerebrum. On the upper side of the picture, you can see the cell body of the upper motor neuron present in the cerebrum that passes through the internal capsule and from the pons and then into the medulla. It's descending in the medulla. It decussate, and when it decussate, it take a form of the pyramid. It forms a pyramid. Some of its fiber basically synapse in the interior column with the lower motor neuron, and some of the fiber decussate in the medulla to form the pyramid. And then it comes to the then there is a lower motor neuron present that causes synapses with the upper motor neuron, and eventually that causes these fiber reaches the skeletal muscle in the motor end plates of the skeletal muscle to cause a contraction of that particular muscle. So lower motor neuron, their cell body basically lies in the interior gray horn of the spinal cord. Anterior gray horn is present on the lower side. Axon exit from the interior root and ends on the muscle. And the lower motor neuron are influenced by the upper motor neurons, and some of the neurons are stimulatory and some are inhibitory. Okay, there are some motor tracts other than the pyramidal tracts known as the extrapyramidal tracts. You have to memorize their name as well. The first one is the rubrospinal tract, reticulospinal tract, tectospinal tract, vestibulospinal tract. Okay, first we will see that rubrospinal, as the name indicate, rubro, the word come from the red nucleus, and that red nucleus is present in the midbrain, and as it's a descending to, so it starts from the midbrain and the pons, and this tract decussates in the brainstem, and it lies in the spinal cord in the lateral column, and it function as the control movement of the skilled muscles. It causes control of the skilled muscle movement. And the other tract, reticulospinal tract, as again the name indicate, it originates from the reticular formation in the brain, and this does not decussate in the descending pathway, and its also site in the spinal cord is in the lateral column. It's involved in the coordination of muscle movement. The third tract is tectospinal tract. It again decussate in the midbrain. Its origination it's originate in the midbrain and the pons, and the site in the spinal cord is different, that it lies in the anterior column. And the last one is the vestibulospinal tract, and in this tract also some fiber basically decussate in the cord and some does not. Its origin is again the same, midbrain and the pons, and site in the spinal cord is anterior column. So these last three tracks, reticulospinal, tectospinal, vestibulospinal, these tracks function in the coordination of the muscle movement and in the maintenance of posture and balance. So that's all about today's lecture. Thank you so much.